Okay, so this is going to be a video explaining how to do the multi-net gas end of day closing process. So what we need to do is basically, if I refresh these, let me just refresh them, or refresh one. You can see here you should have at least one page with the approvals open, and you can see all of the routes here that have been started. We need to, after 5 p.m. and not until after 5 p.m. We can start approving the partial routes. The reason we do it after 5 p.m. is because if we look at the exports, every day an automatic in here in our export page, every day an automatic export will run at, depending on daylight savings hours, 2 or 3 p.m. and then at 4 or 5 p.m. Right now, because of the daylight savings, it's running at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. So if we have a look here, you can see on the 20th, you have 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 3 p.m. Oh, that was a different one because we had to fix it. We had an ad hoc file, 3 p.m., 5 p.m. And then today you can see 3 p.m., 5 p.m. So we have to wait until after 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Before that, we are, as you know, we always, we only approve the routes that are fully completed. After 5 p.m., we can start completing the partial routes. So that'll be anything that's been started but has not been finished. Okay. So basically, that's what we need to do first. We approve all our partials, then we will export our partials here. You can see currently there's none because we haven't approved any. We'll export our partials. Then they will come into here. Then we'll put them into a folder where they will be these three export files, 1, 2, and then our next one that we're going to do with the partials, 1, 2, and 3. They will be stuck together. And then after they're stuck together, they will drop into a folder, and we need to just run a little file checker on it to make sure that there's nothing in it that will get rejected. And then we send off, in between that, we're going to send off the Stumps report, which will just give a kind of an overview of where we're at for the day. So those are the main things that we're going to do. So I'll get started. First thing I'll do, and you can do this in any order you want. I'm going to do the Stumps report first, get that sorted, and then we'll do the approving, and we'll put the file together just to make it easier. So first thing to get the Stumps report, we need to go into our client route status report and put in the standard, anything that's outstanding still. I believe today's the 28th of January, so I'll just put in a date that's before that, yeah, I'll just say the 15th of the 1st, and then I think that should be okay, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it into February. I'm going to write 28th of the 2nd, and I'm just going to go refresh, and we should have 1, 2, 3 showing, and none of these are completed and delivered unchecked. And then, now your one might look a little different, but all you really need is to have everything kind of set out so that everything outstanding is there. And then I will click on the little pivot table up here that has the date and the meters, and I will go pivot table and refresh, or you can just do, I think it's in here, data, refresh all, either one works. And that will refresh this based on how many reads are left on each date. So I will copy, Control C. I will copy these 3 values, and I'll go back into my Stumps report web page, and just in here where it says due, I will right click, paste special, and values only. Okay. Values only, because if you just do a regular one, it will overwrite this, and then your formatting will look icky. So right click and paste special values only, or you can just do hold Control Shift on your keyboard and press V. Either one works. If you have any reads that are late, they will be likely above that. There'll be a little thing like today's the 28th and 28th. You need to make sure that anything that's due is for tomorrow's date, and then the following days after you put into here, bearing in mind that there might be some differences in these dates depending on public holidays and things like that, or if there's a spare day. Just got to keep that in mind when you put it in. If you're not sure, either consult the schedule and double check the dates, but basically the next day that is due should be the read in the due section. The day due after that will be -1, and then the day due after that will be -2. Okay, so that's the first part we do. Next, we need to fill in this one here. These two can stay blank because we don't have anything that's late or 2 days late. But if we ever did, then we would put them in here. But we do need to fill in this one, which is basically all of the reads that came in today. So what I like to do is, after I've got these dates, I will find the most furthest away date, which in this case is the 31st, the one at the bottom. And I'll put in here 31, and I will check these two boxes. And that should show everything that's come in for the 31st. And I will highlight this first register, the registers in root column. Click on this, down to the bottom, highlight that, and down here you'll see a sum, which is 17353. Now on your one there might be something that adds that up automatically, but I just kind of highlight this and use this value down here, 17353. So 17353 needs to go into here, 17353, enter. And now we have our meters read today, and we have all of our things in the right place. You can add a comment if it was a hot day. I will put 30+ degree day. If there was rain, I'll put rainy day. If there was something that held up the file, I will put in the reason, something like I don't know, the technical error delayed several readers, or toolbox meeting in afternoon, something that kind of gives a reason to why we had a low number. Luckily today we had a big number, massive number, so it was very good. We probably had some done on Saturday. If that's the case, just find out how many reads are done on Saturday and add that in there. So there may have been 1, 2, 3, 4 Saturday reads, if I can spell, geez. So what I might do quickly, I'll just check what was done on Saturday and put that in. Now, I don't know if this is the most efficient way to do it, but I will tend to go to the reports, skips by category. I'll open up that and I will run a report for the previous weekend and just see kind of how many were done. So you can see over here we've got 992. There was one that was probably an error. Something went wrong with the handheld as to why it's saying the 27th. But yeah, so I would just add that to it. So 993 Saturday reads. So what we can do is go back to here. I will go 993 Saturday reads, like that. So that's all done. And then the amount of people that worked. So I'll go into the inbox and look at the bingo numbers. Let's see. Bingo numbers that Michael sends. And I'll scroll down and find out how many readers are available. And he's got 56.5. So in here, readers today, 56.5. Enter. Cool. And this is all filled out. So once all of these columns are filled out, with the optional one of a comment, what you can do is I will highlight this, Control C, go into here, go into my sent items, and I'll find the last one that I sent, which is the Stumps report. So our last Stumps report was on Friday. So I'll go, let me just expand this actually. Reply all. I'll get rid of this top part. I'll click on this bit here, right click, delete table. And then I can go Control V. Sometimes it doesn't work and I have to, sometimes it'll say retrieving data, in which case delete it, go back into your Stumps report, highlight it, copy it again. Sometimes that will happen. But if it doesn't, like in this instance, you've got it all beautifully laid out here. Fix the date and the day, Monday, oh no, Tuesday. Public holidays throw me for a loop. The 28th. And that is all ready to go. Now, sometimes if you copy it and this forecasted value is a negative, it won't be in red. I like to highlight it and turn it to red if it is a negative. However, today we did very well and we did not have a negative. So, yep, just something to keep in mind. And that's it. And that should be the Stumps report. So you've got everyone in here. Make sure you've got all the email addresses in here. That's why you press reply all and not just reply. And send her off. All right, and that should be, if I go to my most recent sent one, there it is. Boom, boom, sent. Cool, so that's the Stumps report. Escape, and I can close this now. That will save on its own. This one, now what I like to do, you want to change this back to whatever you had it. So I'll just put it into the February, just so that we can see what's outstanding. Get rid of completed and delivered. I want to see what's outstanding. Now, another thing to note is, which I should have said at the start, don't do the Stumps report until everyone's done. So you got the maximum amount of people, a maximum amount of reads that have been read. You can see like the time now is 6:30. It's 5:54. This person's likely stopped. You know, you can, in theory, you can do it before that, before someone's stopped if they're going a bit later. But I like to capture kind of as many reads as I can on the day and make our numbers look as good as possible. But you can see that since it's been more than half an hour, she's definitely done. I'll save this. So now I know that everyone's done. I can start approving routes. Of course, I can start approving routes after 5 p.m. I won't be able to demonstrate this here, but once I start approving and refreshing, you'll see that this one goes blank. You can't click it anymore. Okay. If someone is still reading, let's say you click approve at 6 o'clock p.m. And then 10 minutes later at 6:10, they do another 10 reads. Basically, this will re-highlight again and it will look like this and you'll be able to press it again. That's totally fine as long as it's after 5 p.m. You know, you can press it as many times as you want. Yeah, you should be, there's no problem. If you do it before 5, bad. After 5, you can press approve on it as many times as they've like, as many times as you like until they're finished. So yeah, so basically what all I do is I open up 6 or so tabs, I think. I've probably got more here, but I like to go through and I will have a whole bunch of tabs. So I'll go up to, let me do an example. So this is my first one that's open. I'll put my mouse over approvals and I'll use the middle scroll button on my mouse and I'll click, and that will open up a new tab. You could also go right click, open new tab, but I like to use the middle button, the scroll button on the mouse, and that will open up new ones. And then what I do on my keyboard, I hold control and I press page down. And I just keep my thumb on control and my middle finger on page down, and I can click, scroll through all of these. If I go control page up, I can keep scrolling through like this. Just makes it easier to kind of go through these and approve them. So the way I do it is, yeah, I'll do the first one. I'll go control page down, and I will double click on completed time, so the arrow is pointing down, and I'll change failed to blank. And then I'll click refresh once. Next one, completed time down, failed to blank, refresh. Next one. Oh, sorry, I didn't press refresh. Refresh, time, failed blank, refresh. And now we're back at the start. This will just kind of make it so that only the multi-net ones, as long as you have these checked, double check these, that you've got 11 checked up here and they're all the multi-net ones. And you should only have the multi-net ones in here. So yeah, now what I can do, I'm just going to go through and start approving. Once I click on one, as long as it's highlighted blue, I can use my arrow keys. I can use right or down to go down the routes, or the left and up to go back up sequentially. So what I do is I kind of click 1, 2, and I'll use my arrow keys to go through, and I'll go approve, refresh, control, page down. Find the next one, not that one. So 2298, approve, refresh. 2298 I just did. 2302, approve, refresh, and then control page down. So just so no, approve, refresh, control page down, refresh, and I've just go through one time. If it's blank, that means I've already approved it. So I use my arrow key to go to the next one. Sometimes I forget. 3276, 3280, 4008. And you see you can go pretty quickly this way. I mean, you're welcome to do it with just one page. Obviously, won't make a difference, right? But I found that in my many years of doing this, that this is the fastest way of doing it without using a macro. Anyway, I'm just going to go through all of these and approve them all. That one I can't approve, so that's probably because it was done. Yeah, no reads were done today, as you can see. That's why I sort it by completed time. I also like to check, you know, you can check if someone's finished the route in a reasonable manner and they haven't just skipped to the last bunch or spread them out. You can usually just kind of have a quick check of that. Someone's cheating the system. Oh, hello. So he's kind of put in a bunch of them. That is a horrible route. I know that route. Ugh. Yeah, but I mean, they're all within 6 minutes. So I'm guessing that as he was doing the route, he kind of just started to skip them. He was doing the route. He left them open, maybe thinking if he had time to go back, he would get them. So that's fine. Oh, that one's a bit big. I have to check on that. Four, 5, 4, 4. 4576, 5220. See, I've already gotten to the bottom here and I can't go down, so I just use the scroll and I kind of scroll one and hope that I get there. 8346, 8346. Now I've gone all the way to the bottom, and you can see this makes it easier. Once I get to the point where when I go to the bottom, I can see I can see at the top here, this one I've already approved. From then on, I know, okay, no matter where I go, I can just scroll straight to the bottom and approve. 8, 2. Make sure you let go of control when you scroll. Otherwise, if you scroll while holding control, whoops, zoom out. So let go of control, scroll down, find your next route. 8360, 8366, 368, 370, 4306, 1626, 45, 44, 52, 38, 6000, 8376 8378 8388. Your keyboard is really your friend when you're doing this. I mean, if you want, you can just do this and then wait for the next one and then do the next one. Like it refreshes pretty quickly. But back in the day when it took 30 seconds for it to load once you've refreshed it, it was a nightmare. Okay, I believe that was the last route. So once you've done the last route, once you've approved it, gotten all the way to the bottom of this list, I'll go back up to the top, keep this highlighted, and I'll use my arrow key, the right arrow key or the down arrow key. I'll keep an eye on this, and I will just see if any more reads have been done. And if they have, I will click and approve the route. Make sure you wait until this green line, the loading line along the top here, wait until that disappears before you move on to the next one. Because sometimes you'll click and it'll be blank and then it'll show up as clickable. So you want to make sure you wait until it loads. Yep, these all look good. Again, I mean, it's that late now. It's 6:40. This is more for when it's you know, around 6 o'clock. There we go. Now I can't go any further. You can also go back into the client route status once you've approved them all. This is an easier way to keep an eye on things, and you just kind of refresh and you see, okay, has there been another read on this route? And you go, oh, look, there's been another read on 193296. So I'll go back into here and I'll go 193296 and it will be clickable. So you can bang, approve it. But in this case, we don't need to do that. Okay, once you are certain, the main thing, before you take the next step, before we do the export, make sure everything due on the day is completed and is approved before exporting anything. You have to make sure that everything is ready. So if I had a day 16 here, I would not be exporting at all. I would be waiting. Unless, you know, the readers told you I'm not going to finish it, in which case you'll need to notify Multinet in the Stumps report. You add a little note saying, you know, unfortunately this route wasn't able to be done because XYZ. In that case, you know, we can obviously do an export with what we have. But in this instance where, you know, everything's done, everything is on the day is due, so everything that was due on the day is done. Now we have no 16th, we can do an export. So we're safe to, so don't do an export until you're sure that everything that's being read is done and you're ready to move on. So I can get rid of all these extra approval sections. I'll leave one open. I click on export here. Sometimes it won't be selected, but you want to select Multinet Gas, MGN. Go across here and you can see now we've got 46, whereas before we had 0. 46 routes have been approved. They're in our little file ready to go. And we click export and that will be exporting now. You only need to click it once. Once that's done, you will see it go back to 0 and export. And you will see in this little folder here, we go into back into our remote drive and we go into Prework. We're going to wait for another file to come in. Let's expand that so we can keep an eye on it. Okay, and now we have a PPS file, and if we have a look over here, we can see that, oh, it's still exporting. So I guess it's not done yet, but that should turn to 0 soon. Well, let's have a look. Oh, it's pretty small, fresh. Now, PPS file is fine. You can see it doesn't match the rest of these are fixed files. There's an automatic process that will run on on anything that is denoted as a PPS file that will turn it into a fix file. So yeah, see, here we go, back to 0. So you can see here, this is a PPS. So PPS, I'm not sure what process runs on it, but if you just leave it for no longer than 5 minutes, it will automatically turn itself into a fix file. Now, you may have an occasion where it appears to be stuck. What will happen is you'll get a little thing, and it'll show up soon. It'll say .pps .tmp, as in a temp file, a temporary file. When the .tmp shows up, that means that the process is running on it. It's currently running on it, and it'll go quickly from TMP and it will turn into a fix. If it gets stuck there, if you notice it's been a few minutes and it's got like that, there it is, .tmp. If it's stuck on this for a few minutes and it's not changing, just press refresh. See what happens. You can see it did in this instance change, but if it doesn't change, all you need to do is you click once on it where it will have, and it will let you kind of rename it. Highlight the full stop, so you'll have .tmp, for example. I'll just do an example of what it'll look like. It'll look like this. When you have this, highlight the .tmp and then delete it, and then click away from it over here somewhere. And what that will do is it will then try to run the process a second time. And usually 90% of the time that will work. It will turn to PPS, and then it will turn back into a TMP, and then it will turn into finally a fix file, and it will work. If you get rid of the .tmp and it's still not doing anything, call for help. Yeah, that's the time where you will alert your supervisor or Multinet and just say, hey, look, we're having technical issues. We're going to try and get them fixed. Ironically. So unintentional, sorry about that. So yeah, but 99% of the time it will turn into a fix file and you'll have no problem. So you can see now we have our 3 files here. What we want to do is, before we stick them together, we're going to run the file checker on them. So we're going to highlight these 3. We're going to right click, copy, and there should be a document on your desktop called file checker. I'm going to put it, or it should be in the quick access as well. Or it'll be, where are we? Get rid of this. There it is, file checker. It'll be on the desktop. And in there, you'll have HUL files and a database. So what you want to do, double click on HUL files, and you can see we've got 3 files in there already. Highlight those 3 that are in there and move them to the archive. And right click and paste the ones we just copied. So these ones, let me just go back to what we had. So we've taken the ones that we just had processed here, and now we have copied them into our HUL files folder in the file checker. Once you have these, because they're copies, again, you want to copy, not cut. Click on it so that you can change the name and change every single word fix to a HUL. It will give you a warning. You just press yes. HUL. Yes. HUL. Enter. Go back in 1 folder up, back to your database, and open it. And this is the file checker. So you'll have a few different options down here. You want to click on FRM main on the left-hand side here. Double click. Daylight savings needs updating, just press OK. You can ignore that. And then you'll have this little box here. And what you should do is, for each one, we want to click, and we want to click, select the top file, and then we check file for validation issues. And what this is going to do is this is going to see if any of the dates are off or out of alignment, any of the times are too early or too late, and give us the ability to change them before we send them to Multinet to get processed. So it takes a little bit. Okay, now what you'll get is you will get two reports here basically. First one is just an overall report, which will show you every single route, the amount of meters, the amount of reads, every single route, meters, reads, and any errors that are in there. Down the bottom here, there's a little button that says last page. You want to click on that, go to the last page, and you can see here we've got quite a few errors, quote unquote errors. Now, because we read 2 to 3 days early, 1 to 2 days early, and because there was a public holiday, and because things are a little bit, there's a large window of dates, you might get a lot of these. If I go back one page, no, so there's only 2 pages. This is okay. What you want to do is just have a quick look down here at the due date and the read date. And if they're within a few days of each other, that's totally fine. You can see that, 28th to the 24th, 28th to the 23rd, et cetera, all the way down. The problem you'll have is when there's one that is, you'll have the 28th over here, and you'll have the 1st of the 1st, 1973, or something like that. And that will usually happen because the meter reader their phone will have died, and then when they turned it back on, the date didn't reset automatically before they put a read in, and so it'll be way off. This is okay, all right? You'll very rarely get one that's wrong here. See, hello, look at this. What was I saying? This one is wrong here, right here. 3256. So someone's put reads in that are well outside. I wonder if this is off. Oh my gosh. And you can see here as well. Have a look at this. So this is a perfect one to work on, because not only do we need to fix the dates, these dates, because this is the 5th of October, 2022, we also need to fix the times. So we have a look at the time. If it's before 5 o'clock, you'll need to change it. 5 o'clock, 13 seconds, that's fine. That's okay. They're on the edge, but it's okay. So I'll look at the top one here first, and then I'll go down to the bottom here, and I'll look at the last page, and I can see here there's 3 reads that are off, and it's the same route, 3256, 3256. You can see that, that's 16, 3256. And then there's this one, which is after 18. That's also bad. We need anything that's 18 or more, we need to change. So anything that's, if I go back to the start, 04 or less, so 4 o'clock or less, you need to change. And anything that's 18 or more, you'll need to change. And I will show you how to change them right now. So we're going to do, first one we're going to do is the time, because the time is the most common issue. You'll have someone put in a read like a minute before 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. It says 5 o'clock, but it's because of daylight savings. It's kind of iffy. It moves it out by an hour. So anything that says, before that, you're that bad. So what you need to do is, with the time, just close both of these, correcting date and time down here. Click on incorrect hours and find the one where you have an issue. So these are all okay because they're saying incorrect hour is 05. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. We've got an 18. And what I like to do is anything that's after that, I just kind of put in a 17. Just put 17, enter, and then enter again. And what that's going to do is it's going to change the time in the system. One read updated successful. Okay. Now you can't just do the next one again. You have to quit, run the validation again, let it go. And we're back. And you can see if we go right to the end, the one that was 18, that's now gone because we fixed it. So now we need to do the ones that are 21. So again, close these two, correcting date and time, incorrect hours, scroll down, 21, change that also to 17. Enter, enter. Updated 2 reads. Quit. Check the validation. I'll just time jump. And we're back. And if you can see, skip to the end, everything is, the 21s are now gone. Now these 5s, I know they're showing up in outside allowed, but again, that's okay. It will not crash the file. The other ones would have. So that's how you fix the time. Anything that is, so if there was one that was 04, I would change it to 06 or 05, up to you, but 06 is probably safer. Yeah, anything before that's 4 a.m. or 4:59 or whatever, or, you know, blah, blah. Just need to put it inside that window of between 06 and 17, just somewhere in there. That's fine. Now we're going to fix these dates. So what we need to do, one read taken too early. So I think we have to fix the other one. Just have a quick scan of this. 2025, 2025. Okay, it's just this one here. Seems. Is there anything here? That's all good. All right, so it's clearly shown us there's an error there. So this is the only one that is off. So what we need to do, correcting date and time. Let's just move this on top. Click on date. Now you need the route ID, which, as we can see here, 1602 3256. So 1602 3256. The incorrect date, so we can see, make sure you follow this format, not necessarily this one, but this one. So you can see that's, it should be the same actually, you can see here. So date, month, year, so 055/10/2022. And then we want to change it to the correct one. And what we'll do is we'll change it to, see, I'm not sure when it was read, but I'm going to say that it was read on, it's the Friday the 24th. So 24 / well, actually, why don't we have a quick look? Let's have a quick look. So what we can do is we'll go into our file, go back into our folder here. What we can do is we can open this up. I think it was the first one. Let me just check which. So the file that we used was the one that ended in 150314. So that was the file that we're checking. So if I go back into my pre-work, 150314. So this is the one that we're working on. So I'll double click that and you can see it'll open up this. And what I can do is I can go Control F, and I will put in the route number 1602 3256. 3256. Find next. And you can see it's found this route, and you can see this is the, I know it's hard to read, but this is the route number here. And what you want to do is you want to look for something that looks similar to a date. And it's usually in this RDG line. So look in this RDG line. And what you can find is that usually look for the year, the current year, and you should be able to find 2025. Here we go, 2025. So if I go back, there we go. It'll have the month and then the, the date and then the month. So you can see it's kind of like a, it's the same on each one. So 0128 2025, 0128 2025. And then the next part here, this looks like the time. So you can see that this is showing that 01/28. So it was read today on the 28th of January. So that's kind of how I can find out the date that it was read. Or you can just, you know, look at the look at this if you want, and just double check the client route stats. But it's just good to know that anyway. So what I'm going to do is back to here. I want to make this the 28th of 01 of 2025. Update HUL file. What it should do, it's going to look, it's looking through. Updated to read successfully. Perfect. Okay. Quit. Close this. Check it for validation issues. Time skip. And okay, time is good. Go to the end. Time is good. There's all 05s. Skip to this. And let's have a look for 2022. Can't see anything that says 2022. I think we're good. We are good. All right, perfect. Now, we've made a few changes to this file. Firstly, we'll do the other two because remember we've got 3 of them. So let's do this next one, which the one at the 5 o'clock file, because you can tell 1701. Let's check this one. Okay, 05, go to the end. 05, no time issues. Check these dates. 01, 01, 01, 01. That's all good. That one's fine. We're clear with that one. Don't need to worry about it. Now the last one, the bottom file, 1842. Check file for validation issues. 548, that's good. 559, that's also good. Skip to the end. 01/01 2025, all good. See, our dates are all good there as well. So we're good. So of the 3 files, only one of them was had an issue. So what I can do is if I go back into the file check, I can close the file checker now. I'm done with it. Don't need it anymore. What I do need though, I need to check in my HUL Files folder, because this is where we're going to copy the files from. So back where I initially pasted my HUL files in the file checker folder, you can see here now we have more than 3. Remember, we started with 3. We started with this one, we started with this one, and this one. Because we made those changes, every time we made a change to either the date or the time or the date or the time or whatever, any change we made, it created a new one, okay? If you're confused about which one to use, look at the date modified. For 2 things you can use to check. First, look at the date modified. The most recent one is the one we use. You can see that these ones, the way they're labeled, see this is the 18, this is the 640 one, the one that the partial routes that we did. This is the 5 o'clock one that had no issues. Remember these 2, no issues at all. It was the 1503 file. So we only need to use one of these, and it will always be either the one that is the most recent, so 659, or it's the one that doesn't have all of this stuff after the initial date here. See how this stuff has all the 2025 01 blah blah. It kind of timestamps it for when you made the change. So these ones with the extra stuff on the end, we don't need. So you can just highlight these, delete, and you should be left with the plain ones with the date and just the time, no extra. Okay. If you're worried that you've done the wrong thing, open it back up. Open it back up. Okay. Run it again. Run the file checker on it again. See, run the file checker on it again. Time is good. Check the dates. Anything 2022? Nope. See, we're all good. This is the correct file. So yeah, if you're worried about it, just run it again. You don't lose anything from it except a little bit of time. Oops, I need to go into here. So now I've got all of my stuff in a HUL file format. I need to go back into this, change it to FIX, enter, Change this to fix, enter, and a fix, enter. This is extremely important. Do not put ones that are labeled HUL file in there. Do not, because otherwise it will not work. You have to change it back to a fix file, okay? Very, very important. Once they're fix files, highlight them, Control-C, copy, and then we go into our pre-work. Now remember, we don't want to use this because this one is corrupt. This is our original one that we had to fix. So once you go in your pre-work folder, click on MGN at the top here. Oh no, sorry, I apologize. Once you're back in your pre-work folder, click Files to Stick, double click in here. In your Files to Stick folder, this is where you want to paste them, okay? So let me just go back into this. So just to recap that short little segment, we take our Files to Stick ones, we copy them, we go into our pre-work, Files to Stick, and we paste them into our Files to Stick folder. Very, very important, okay? This will take these 3 fix files, specifically fix files, not HUL files, fix files, and it will stick them together. Yes, it is pretty self-explanatory, but it will stick them together. It will convert them, first thing it does is actually it converts them into HUL files, and then it sticks them together so that they're in the right format. Now usually what I do while I'm waiting for this to happen is I will go into my sent items, and I'll go back down to the last HUL file email I sent. This is tonight's HUL file one. I'll go reply all, get rid of let's make that a bit bigger. Yep, reply all, get rid of the top bit. So it should be just this, it attaches the gastohost file. If there's any issues, like tonight is a bit late, running late as a couple of reads were time stamped as 2022 as October 2022. They should process fine now. I'll just, because I don't like doing a different color, I'm going to paste the formatting. Oh, hang on. Formatting, just this part. They have been fixed and should process fine now. Cool. Get rid of this. Okay. I don't need my HUL files on. In fact, I'm just going to put that into archive because I don't need them anymore. And now we've got these. And now all we have to do, we're just going to wait for them to eventually turn into HUL files, and then they will stick together and they will vanish. Okay, we can see here, it's turned into a temp file, this one. Soon it will, once it's done processing, it will become a HUL file. There it goes, boom. Now the next one. And now finally this one. And once that is done, they have been taken. Now you can find the old versions in your archive folder. They will be in here. Both the fix file and the HUL file versions, they will magically get copied in. But basically they disappear. And where they go, if we go back out to MGN, we go into output process, it'll be sitting in gastohost right there. Why did that go away? All right, just a moment. Okay, that came back. I need to add that damn sentence again. All right, so you can see there, the gastohost file just got taken, vanished, disappeared. If you don't get it in time, for example, you go to the output process folder, oh my God, it's empty. Where did it go? Go into the archive. In the archive, you'll see that usually it's about every 5 minutes it gets taken. And you can see here that that is dated for right now, So all I do is click, hold, and drag that into the HUL file email, or I would drag this one, which was here, into the HUL file email over here. I'll just add my little sentence again. Boom, boom. Now that's back. So once you have cleaned up your little subject line, you've got the attachment of the gastohost file, and you've sent this. Again, usually all you need is that. That's plenty. But if there is something else that you want to add, like this, there was a delay, there's a couple of reads, blah, 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 blah. They were timestamped poorly. That's fine too. So now once you've got all that in there, click send, and that should go off into the ether. And that's it. That is basically how you do the end of day stuff. And you'll see they get sent. You want to, because this is a pretty big file, 9 megabytes, don't close Outlook immediately. Otherwise it'll get stuck in your outbox. Just leave it like 30 seconds to a minute, and then you can close it. But yeah, once you've done that, everything else you can close off. And yeah, again, all of this was done on the remote drive pretty much. So yeah, you shouldn't need to go back and forth between 2 separate ones. The only thing you need to do on a normal one on the website is, outside of your remote drive, sorry, is the approving of routes. But yeah, that is it. Now, if there's anything that I missed or made a mistake on, I'll make another video and just make a correction on that. So keep an eye for that. If you do see that video there, like a second one after this, watch that as well, because there'll be something important that I've made a mistake about and that I need to make a video on. Otherwise, if there's nothing, then I did an amazing job. Yeah, that's about it. Cool.